Welcome back to another episode of Art of the Float. It's 2023. I can't even believe it. Another year. We're still doing it. It's wild. And in this episode, we're all just catching up with our float centers, sharing what's been going on, if we've been making money, losing money, what's been going on with our shops. If anybody's had any floods, the answer, yes, multiple. Oy vey. But before we get started on that, of course, I want to give a big shout out to HelmBot. HelmBot, built by float center owners for your float center to do your client scheduling, your employee scheduling, create tasks so your employees know what to do at any time of the day to make sure your center is running perfectly smooth. And also just something that I'm embarrassed to even admit it, but something that I realize is they have an inventory system too. We've been having a lot of issues with inventory, whether it's shampoo running out or hydrogen peroxide, whatever it is. It doesn't have to be a headache. You can just keep your inventory in Helm. And when something gets marked to a certain level, it automatically pops up, to order some more. It's great, super convenient. And so that's what I'm setting up in Helm. That's my project for the month. And I'm like, wait, why haven't we been doing it this way the entire time? But yeah, more on why that is later in the episode here. And also a big shout out to the FTA. Oh my gosh. The Float Tank Association is really stepped up their game over the years. They've become quite the capable group. Not just capable, but absolutely helpful for starting your float center and for existing float centers as well. I highly encourage you to become a member of the FTA. It's not even expensive. You're putting money in to the FTA, and of course you're getting back a lot of help, including these really cool Zoom calls where experts are coming on or discussions are happening, whether it's for a holiday promotion or an expert on water sanitation or your water solution sanitation. Really good stuff. Please support the FTA. It's an important group that helps support our industry. I think that's it. My goodness. Let's go ahead and start the show. Welcome back to another episode of Art of the Float, where float centers thrive. My name is Dylan, and I am so happy to be back here in 2023. It's good to see your faces. Oh, I own the float shop in Portland, Oregon.
Hey, everybody, it's Kim Hannon. I am also crazy excited because it's been way too long since we've done this. We don't know what to do now. But I co-own Sukido Float Center in Salt Cave in southern Indiana, right across the bridge from Louisville, Kentucky, where the Float Conference is going to be held this year.
What? And what are the dates on that?
I'll tell you soon.
Okay.
And this is Drew from New Hampshire Float in cold New Hampshire. And I am also happy to see everyone's face and catch up, and I'm excited for 2023.
Hello, everyone. Gloria Morris here from Float 60 here in Chicago, and have a couple of float centers in Indiana too. I'm super pumped about Louisville. Great to see your faces. I miss you so much, so I'm stoked for tonight.
Yeah.
This is going to be one of our best podcasts ever. There's a lot to cover. So I feel like our last episode was everything but everything except our float centers was our last episode, and there's a lot of float things to cover, or float topics to cover, but it didn't make any sense to reconnect with you guys and to reconnect with our audience without covering the last 2 months basically of what's been going on in our lives, including our float centers. I'm really curious where everybody's at. We left on a real cliffhanger last previous on Art of the Float. So I'd love to just hear about what the heck's been going on. Hopefully just really mild, super chill, uneventful, just lots of cash getting stacked in the back and going swimming in your coins. And other than that, just chill, relaxed. Is that...
That's what I've been doing.
That's what it was like for me. I don't know what... did you guys have a different experience? Yeah, obviously. There were a few text chains going on. We talked about that a lot last episode. And it was... I think it's been a little stressful for a few of us.
Yeah.
Well, Dylan, to, I guess, jump in and turn it back on you. I know you had some construction going on. What is going on, or what's the current state of? Are you even open? Are you hosting floats?
Oh, you're talking about my business, not my home. Which flood are you talking about?
Oh, it's like that.
It's like that. It's like that. Oh, I don't even want to talk about it, but I will. But I'll try to make it brief. Okay, Pry, I'll talk about it. Yeah, we had a flood in our float shop, and you can listen to last episode if you want to hear more deets on that. But almost essentially nothing has happened since then. It's really wild how no construction has happened. That's not entirely true. Ceilings were replaced for most ceilings, and a couple wall sheetrock was replaced. But we have no float room, and no work has been done there. And the weird part about, I get a little weird talking about this because we're dealing with insurance, and like to put it out there is a little bit weird, but it's all out of our hands. So I think it's totally okay to talk about, which is that we over the holidays there was lots of flooding and like houses and businesses because of the freeze, and then probably pipes breaking and whatnot. And we just had a major delay in just getting quotes from contractors to get in because there was just no sense of urgency. Thankfully, our insurance company, well, they've dropped us. They do. They're making us whole. Like they're doing I feel good about it. Like it's work. Don't get me wrong. Like I'd prefer not to have gone through all of this, but they're even helping when we had to close and when we're closed in the future. They bridge the gap for employee pay, lost revenue, all that stuff.
That's terrific.
That part feels really good. So
Dylan, you had a float room that flooded first, like at the end of last year, right? And then the flood hit like a bigger flood and another flood. I can't keep them all straight.
I don't know. Honestly, I'm pretty checked out at this point.
So
it's all
funny.
one big flood. It's Noah's.
It's just
I don't
water.
know.
But
Yeah.
Every
three
religion
tanks
has a
working?
flood. What's that?
The other 3 tanks are operational?
Other three float tanks are operational.
Okay.
And
So you're not closed.
So we're good. We are open. I'm a little worried that our employees are getting used to like 3 float tanks. Yeah, this is cool. All right, good. Plus, we have like the COVID breaks of like we have a very long transition time now, and like bring a 4th float tank back, and then hey, actually the float shop would like to kind of make money, so we'd like to add more floats back to our schedule. So thinking about shrinking that back up. That's going to be tough to break people in on that one. Like
we've been contemplating the same. And
Interesting.
I don't.
Are they
Where you
all
at?
We
four at the
couldn't.
same time?
They are at the same time.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. You got to hustle. You have sweat. Your face is glistening by all means. But I think people are used to just like being very like detail oriented, getting it done well, but not in like get it done mode,
Yeah.
I think the only way we could bring it back is if we double staffed. There's just no way, and we've been busier throughout the holiday.
Good.
I think our team has kind of struggled a little bit with that though, and we still have we're running 3-hour blocks with 75 to 90-minute floats. And I think, and we also have the salt cave and an infrared mat. So like we have a lot that could be happening. And I think I don't know how they would feel about shrinking it down unless we had double staffing. So.
Sure. We always have double staffing on a transition. So by all means, I think you need 2 people.
Yeah. With 4 rooms, absolutely.
With COVID, we went from doing all 4 at the same time to doing staggered 2 and 2. And so we run them every hour now versus every 2 hours, basically. And I don't think we'll ever go back to all at the same time. It's just a more steady flow. It just works a little bit better, and you don't have to have 2. But with other modalities, it's certainly nice. But yeah,
exactly.
that's
my
love
first
it.
concern with that is just pumps running.
Yeah, no, we really don't have a problem with that.
Okay, all right. I mean, let me float in your center and be the judge of that. Because I've heard that a number of times. But do employees not get a little burnt out of just like it's a constant thing going on to bring people in, bringing them out?
You'll have to ask my staff that, because I'd like to say no, because I haven't heard that. But, if you ask them straight out, I don't think so, honestly. I think
Next up on Art of the Float,
I think
Gloria's
it's
staff.
more even. You don't have
Okay.
as much downtime. You're just on a
Follow-up
cadence.
question.
Yeah.
3 people want to come in and float. Somebody has to wait. Like, it just is what it is.
We've made modifications provided that you could be a little bit flexible provided that the other 2 aren't booked. Sometimes we've had 4 people that want to come at the same time, so we've modified, but usually those things happen in advance. So, yeah, it really has not been an issue. I think that was a blessing that came out of COVID because we're able to be much more efficient with the staffing.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And
we
see,
couldn't
ours
do it in
are
our 1904.
staggered with our other services.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Got it.
go ahead, Dylan.
Interesting. No.
Yeah.
You're good.
But I think, that makes a huge difference because we'll start our floats, say our 10 o'clock hour, and then the salt cave starts at 10:30, the infrared mat at 10:45. And then the infrared mat finishes first because it's the shortest. Then the salt cave finishes, and then our float finishes. And so then, they have a chance to kind of turn each one as soon as they finish. And then it just kind of keeps going steady throughout the day. So.
You guys make me think. No. I literally cannot do that. The pumps are too loud. Okay, yeah. And Drew, you have
You can't do that.
one person on staff. Tanks are right next to each other. There's no way you're staggering, right?
No, not staggering. And I generally have 2 people on staff, or I block off a float. So I'll do
interesting.
2, then 3, then 2, then 3 type of thing.
Okay.
Or a lot of times, like right now, I lost a couple of staff at the end of the year. And so now I'm working more, but I'll take off and leave the schedule in a way that is manageable, and I feel comfortable with the staff that's working, managing how it is. And I'll generally only do that if I block off like a float here or there. Okay. But, or at the end of the night, I'll do 3 back to back. But listen, my struggles with employees, I try to make it easy for my employees. And the ones that I still have, I don't want them to go anywhere. So I try to help out where I can. I try to make it as easy as possible. I think it's an employee market still, and it's harder to find good employees. And even if my employees that I have aren't as perfect as I would like, I'm managing how my float center works when I'm not there with them. And so I try to make it easy, and they got really nice bonuses for Christmas.
Nice.
I tell them I appreciate them every time I leave and say thank you. I appreciate you. I'm going home. Call me if you need me, but if you don't.
Yeah.
But I have 2 hours and 15 minutes between each session. Wow. And it used to be 2.5 hours. And I think the 2 hours, 15 minutes works great. And also, I remember the days of being sweaty and having to change shirts and trying to project calmness and being collected. And I have all this anxiety and sweat dripping all over me. So, I think there is something to be said. Sometimes less is more. And I think in floating, that attention to detail and those few extra minutes chit-chatting with somebody, even though you might lose a block of floats, allowing both yourself and the employees to establish those relationships with customers by having that little bit of extra time and not being stressed out, I think goes a long way in the long run.
Cool.
So,
can we just do a full episode on employees again?
Again? I'm tired of talking about it.
I know, right? Well, here's my thing that I want to do an episode because the shop's been around 11 years now. And the culture has changed quite a bit, and the expectations have changed quite a bit as well. And we've also lost our manager recently, which was like a good, healthy, good separation. Everything's good there. But it does mean it's like, oh, we can like get our hands back on, like no separation between us and employees and everything. And it's like, we want things run a little bit differently now. I want things run my way. And I just want to talk with you guys about some, I don't know, your philosophies, best practices. How do I not come across as a complete monster while wanting my employees to be a certain way and changing it, like this is the culture and I want to change it. So Olga, if you're listening, do you think our producer listens to the show or
never?
Do I need to shoot an email? Okay.
No.
I'll shoot an email then. You're right. I'd love to do an episode with you guys talking about employees. But Can I just end my story on a little bit of a positive note?
I was
which
going
is
to say, let's go back to your
Let's do
flood.
that.
let's go back to the flood. Oh, you know what? If I want to end on a positive note, let me just say I've been sick for all of December and the beginning of January. I thought I was out of it, and I got sick again. It's been insane. The whole family just getting sick over and over and over again. No holidays with family, no holidays with friends. It actually, silver lining was kind of nice because we just we're super cozy with each other and just chill, no high stress, not tons of presents, just super mellow. Loved that, not the being sick part. That was, I've been pretty zen, but it started pushing my buttons, particularly when the day after Christmas, I found my office was flooding. We had a pipe burst behind our house and the entire carpet of we have a 2-story house. The garage is extended in the back, and I built offices for Sandra and I back here, which turned out great during the pandemic to have offices. She was teaching remotely, which was great. But yeah, all our carpet that we had installed was flooded. We tore it out, and I was still sick, so just exhausted and hating life and getting this stuff out of there. Our neighbors were super helpful. But if you hear more of an echo, it's because we have no carpet in here. I have a rug on the floor, and sheetrock is still cut out where it got too moist, and we don't want mold in here, so we're pretty safe with it. And I need to install that. And anyway, so to end on a positive note is just within the past couple days, we have install dates for flooring. Some ultramarine flooring going into our Nautilus room, which means the floor has to be built first, the elevated floor. It's not going to be a floating floor anymore because F that, it's too much movement and things tear apart too easily. Assault is bad enough. And then we're also just getting new floors throughout the entire float shop. We're repainting the float shop. We're just let's use this as an opportunity to reinvent ourselves, be fresh, and hopefully our employees will also feel that freshness, as kind of referenced a couple of minutes ago. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, that's all.
Awesome.
Nice.
Kim, nice, dry, safe business over the holidays. Just lots of cash.
Just by the bag full, really. I mean, they were just walking in. They didn't win anything. People would just throw us a bag of cash and leave. It was great.
Nice. Cool.
Cash
Man,
elves.
How do you do it? Gosh, yeah. No, the holidays were a little crazy for us. December ended up being super, super full. My dad was celebrating his 20-year anniversary with his wife, and they got married just before Christmas. And so they invited us down for a quick stay in a cabin in Tennessee. And it was really great, but it was one of those, I didn't have a chance to plan for it. And so I had some work I had to get done while we were there. And I feel like I kind of missed out on some of that, cozy cabin, good vibes stuff. But it was really crazy because the cabin was literally on the line of the time zone change. And so if you were sitting on one side of the table, we were in Eastern. And if you were sitting on the other side of the table, you were in Central. And it was the craziest thing. Yeah. And our phones kept changing and everybody's arguing about what time it was, but it was funny. But we were kind of worried that we were going to get snowed in there because it's out there. And thankfully we got out, but we had to drive home in some pretty dicey weather. And what was normally I think it's normally an hour and a half, no, 2.5 hour drive ended up taking us 5 hours just to get back. And, it was a slow go, but we made it and got home, and everything here had also been snowy and icy. And then we had just go here, do this sort of thing. So it was a little tiresome, but lots of just really good times with family and get to hang out with everybody. And, everything went great at the shop. We had a really strong gift certificate sales year. And, we've solidified now. This is our 3rd year in a row of doing the same strategy for our gift cards. So we've decided we're just doing that every year, and we're not going to mess around changing anything.
Okay,
it
great.
Really works. So
I want to hear from Gloria and Drew on this too, because Olga, if you're listening, never mind. I know you're not listening. I'll email you. I want to make sure that we do an episode a couple months in advance of next year's holidays, because I was not thrilled with our holiday sales, and we did the powder keg method, and there's a lot of hype in the Float Collective about it, and it entirely possible I messed things up on the launch of it, yada yada yada. Overall, we will not be doing that again. I did not see the return. Not as confusing for clients as I thought it was going to be. I thought that was going to be mind-numbing, like how much we were going to have to be helping people. Actually, that part turned out great. We just didn't have the sales. So can I just briefly hear what your sales strategy was?
Yeah, it was pretty simple, but we do dollar value based gift cards instead of service based. And so they can use that for any of our 3 services or for our retail products. And since we switched to this, we've also noticed an increase in our gift certificate numbers because instead of pricing a discounted float, we're not discounting anything. What we're doing instead is giving a bonus amount for free. The more you spend, the more you get. And so starting, if you buy a $100 gift certificate, we're going to put $110 on it. If you buy 150, we're going to put $170 on it. If you buy 200, we put $230 on it, and so on. So we have these stair steps. And it's so easy to get somebody who comes in and says, hey, I just need a gift certificate for a float. We say, well, a float's usually $75, but we're running a special right now that you can get some extra money for the gift certificate. Do you think they'd enjoy the Salt Cave too? Yes. Oh, they'd love that. Okay, well, you can get both of them on the same day for $100. And if you do that, they're still going to have $10 extra. And so it's a super easy upsell for people.
Okay, cool.
And really easy to overall to manage that process. And then if we raise our prices later, not a big deal.
Interesting. Oh, yeah. All right. Cam, yeah. Drew.
Yeah.
How are your holidays?
Holidays were great. Yeah, no complaints. I didn't do any advertising other than a Black Friday text sale with Matt Phillips that was extremely successful, I'll say. And other than that, as people know, I'm trying to sell my business. I'm trying to be more profitable and spend less money and see what I can make. I didn't spend any money on advertising. I'm very happy with how my October, November, December went. And it was probably the 3 most profitable months of my existence.
Whoa.
And at least, anecdotally, I made very good money, and I spent like $0 to advertise.
$1 advertising? Are you kidding me?
Yeah, I did no advertising again, other than the text campaign, which was a 5-figure one-day campaign. But yeah, I was very, very profitable, and I think being around for 5 years, there are people who they get a float every year for Christmas. And now every year there's more people who are like that, right? The longer you're around, the more people know about you, the bigger the customer base. I didn't discount any of my floats. It was my regular price, and it worked out well. I'm happy with it. And so last year when I had a monster November, December last year, and I had people very upset that they couldn't float. I sold too many floats for me wanting to have my time and be up on the mountain snowboarding.
Right.
So that was another reason. I'm like, I thought I was very close to selling, which I wasn't, or, it didn't happen, but I didn't want to have someone new coming in and being overwhelmed with too many people floating. I didn't want to be held to, like last year, I was closed. I'm supposed to be closed on Tuesdays. I was floating people because they were upset. So I was giving up my time and having no free time, right? So this year I said, hey, I don't really care about getting every dollar. I want to be able to go up to the mountain. So I just closed on Wednesdays. Now I'm closed on Tuesdays and Wednesdays, and I'm getting my time back, and I'm learning how to be more profitable instead of spending $10,000 to not really know if I'm exactly getting that back or not. Like I found some confusion in there, right? So
Sure. Yeah.
I was just curious how it would go without spending anything. And when you really dig into your numbers, you could be more profitable by selling less floats, depending on what's going on with your business.
Sure.
So I'm maximizing my profitability, as you would say, and trying to not necessarily focus on the number, right? But how the profitable number more so than my sales number. Yeah.
Cool. Damn. Love it,
Awesome.
Drew. Can we get any update on your sale?
Real quick, no update. I'm dancing and flirting with people, but
I'm
no one's
shocked
pulled the
that
trigger
doesn't
yet.
work.
I know.
That's all it would take. I'll buy it, Drew.
Yeah.
These husbands are getting in the way, Gloria. This is the problem.
Oh, that's great. That's great.
But so we should let people know that you're not going through a broker in case, like, I don't know, for some
I'm
reason
not,
this is somebody's
no.
first time listening.
Oh, so I guess one of the things I did over the break was I am going to be starting a YouTube channel, and I'm going to be documenting my journey. I've already started making videos. I've learned how to edit. I am at a spot where I'm not going to release it until I actually do sell. And the reason for that is because I have videos up until the point I'm at now. And then if I don't sell for 6 months, I lose that momentum. Oh, yeah. So I will be documenting this journey. I am currently documenting this journey, and I'm breaking it down into some really cool parts that I can share a lot of good information with, such as the decision, how to plan and prepare, how to market, how to interact with people, whether or not to use a broker. I'm not using a broker. I think our industry is very unique, and part of selling a float center is same way you had to sell floating when you were opening it, you have to sell floating when you're selling it, because people don't understand it and they're going to devalue it. And it makes it easy to compare our business to things that don't make any sense at all, but is easy for a broker who I have a negative opinion of brokers because they'll tell people what they want to hear. But we don't have an industry standard. We don't. So how can anyone say what the industry standard is? Right. And that becomes the negotiation, right? Well, I'm the expert in this, so it's going to be closer to what I think than what someone who has no clue what it is comes along and says the value of it is, right? Yeah. So it's been an interesting journey. I've definitely learned a lot. I'm going to be able to share a whole lot of information with people. Awesome. And I still can't stress enough, you have to sell, but to get the best value, you have to sell before you're ready, because it will take a while, and each person that comes along, and I've had 5 people sign non-disclosures, and each person focuses on something different. Wow. So there's no consistency to it. But then also you get to hear the feedback of how people are valuing the business. Sure. And some people just don't get it, and you're not going to convince them otherwise. And I think it really has a lot to do with who they are going to for advice and who their advisors are. Sure. And I think that some people get misled by people who aren't the right people to be advising them, and they're missing out on a great opportunity. Right. So that's what I think. But they're going to look at it and not really understand what goes into it. And I have turned down 3 offers that it's like, yeah, that would be a great deal for you, like, great deal for you, but you can't build a float center. Just to kind of bring it back, just recently, someone in the Float Collective posted how much they spent on building their float center. And when I see that, I'm like, yeah, what I'm asking for is a fair price. Sure. You can't build my float center for $300,000. I'm sorry. And I'm in a good position to wait. So if you're going to offer me $300,000, I can say no. Right. So I think the best position you can be in is to be before you're ready to sell, and then be patient. It's going to take 12 to 24 months, and maybe you get lucky, but who's going to buy your float center? Like, you can think about that, and it's probably someone from your float world who's going to buy the float center. I think it's a difficult sell to anyone who's not involved in floating. So that's kind of the update. I have so much information that I could talk for days about that.
We have a whole, you're doing a mini series basically on this podcast about selling, and you have another one coming up here soon. So it's already on the books. We're going to get more into it. Just you talking also just bring something up for me, which is Tim Strudwick of Isopod. I think it was today as of a recording, like the most beautiful float center he had ever installed a float tank in, and he was like, "It's just like Space Odyssey 2001 in here." And I didn't read any of the comments. I saw a couple of the pictures. Oh God, I wanted to comment and be like, "Open the float, the isopod doors, Tim." But I'm sure somebody else already made that comment. But I get concerned. I get nervous, especially having been doing consulting for a minute. People spending so much money, and when does the return come back? Like, when does profitability actually exist? And I would love to get somebody on the show who has spent a lot of money and has that answer. Hopefully, in being like, yeah, you can totally make that money back. But even buying tanks used the way that we do, not making payments or short-term or low-end payments. Yeah, it's kind of a razor's edge. So I'm curious about that. Sorry, don't mean to digress too much, but
yeah.
Well,
But either way, it's
I'll email
expensive to
Olga
build
about it.
Yeah,
Sorry, what was that?
It's expensive to build a float center, right? No matter how
It's
you
expensive,
cut it.
and it feels like it's only getting more expensive too.
Yeah.
As it's less kind of like do it yourself and more knowledge in soundproofing and all of that. Like,
Right. That's what I
more.
was just going to say, Dylan. I think the biggest concern I have when I look at those, and I had big ideas about what my space would look like too, but building for function over form, I think that's what's not happening. I think people are building for form that may not be as educated about all the things you just mentioned, the soundproofing, the salt proofing, the waterproofing. And, you just think about how destructive the environment is. And if you don't do that, you are literally repeating your costs.
Right.
Your
investment.
And
right,
so
yeah.
I think there's more of that happening because less people are educated about that. That's my gut. I could be completely wrong, but yeah, it's definitely scary to think that you're just going to build this beautiful space, and yeah. But
I don't want to talk out of turn. I'm not going to name any names, but I have worked with, I've been on the phone with industry professionals who, I guess I will just say not inside of Oregon, just because there's some industry professionals in Oregon that would be pretty obvious to connect, not in Oregon, that are like have melting floats, just like their walls are melting, things are just falling apart by that salt. That's like, you guys should know how to do this. And it's amazing just how destructive our industry, what's the word I'm trying to look for? But
Ingredient.
basically salt. Yeah. It's so hard to plan for it. People want that aesthetic, like you said, the form.
yeah.
They'll compromise. It's like, that's great on your first 3 months. Yes. A year, you're going to start seeing a little wear and tear. 3 years, you're going to start putting fingers into your walls.
Right. Right. Oh yeah. It definitely happened to me.
Happened to me.
I think the
Hell
last time we recorded, I think I was still closed from redoing my floors.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think we were closed
Maybe Kim
over
too.
a month. Yeah. And you don't
we always
have to
our
do
share
that.
of floods.
Yeah.
Well, Gloria, can you tell us about your holiday?
Well,
Just the butt.
yeah. Well, I was very happy with the overall year ending in the fourth quarter on an uptick. We finally were in a situation where all 4 locations were stable.
Cool.
Because I had acquired a location the year before. So we hit a year right in October. So that was like stable, ready to go. And then Lake Zurich, which I purchased in the beginning of March of 2020. I've talked about this story. Really just took off. So it was such a huge relief. So yeah, I think for the first time in 7 years, I am in a situation where I'm only focused on the growth and profitability optimization of the 4 existing locations. I still have this sports project that will have some components of wellness in it, but not a float center. So I was very pleased. I always spend money on holidays. I too use Matt Phillips, and I've been very happy with the ROI with Matt.
Cool.
I cannot say enough about that. The math is the math, and we code things so that we know it's coming from those particular ads, and it's definitely a good return. So that's good.
I hate to do it again,
Yeah.
but I'm gonna have to email our producer and say I would love a tutorial, a walkthrough on determining your ROI. Like, I'm throwing all my money into these advertisements, here, there, wherever. How do I know what I'm actually getting back based on what I'm putting out there?
Yeah.
I'd love all the deets.
Yeah, that's complicated. It's not straightforward at all because you don't know what you'd already be getting. To Drew's point, maybe these people would be coming anyway. But this is where we could talk all kinds of time on coding, right? And using certain codes. And even now we're rolling out, by the way, we are about to raise our prices for the first time in 7 years, finally.
Wow.
Oh my
looking at
God.
it.
Yeah, first time in 7 years. Yeah, we're about to completely redo
what's your
everything.
current and what's your next price?
So our current price, the first time float is 60. The regular price float is 90. We very rarely let people pay 90. We always have some kind of package or whatnot. But we're changing our membership structure quite a bit. Our first time float will be 69. And our regular price float will be 99. So they're going up $9 each.
Okay.
And then our memberships are completely restructuring. That's just a whole nother conversation. But we're kicking these things off February 13th, which is our 7-year our 7-year anniversary. And I'm excited. We're doing a lot of planning right now. I'm working with some people to, in fact, my communications manager just emailed you tonight, Kim. We're going to get a new person on the Mindful Solutions platform.
Nice.
Not to plug, but we're excited about that. But I do want to share, I think...
I'm sorry, I didn't understand. What were you not plugging? Mindful.
This little social media marketing company, Mindful Solutions.
MINDFUL
Yeah.
Solutions?
L.
Okay. Yeah.
Two
Oh, it's
Ls.
Mindful. Oh. Is it a branding thing?
Mindful.
I'm sorry, I'm flummoxed.
Oh, Dylan.
Well, let's give her a plug. She's every single night. Might as well talk about her business. It helps.
Yeah, I was just bragging about you today. As a matter of fact, your ears may have been ringing, but you probably already have an email in your inbox from tonight. But I do want to.
So anyways, Kim offers social media. We'll help you with your social media. You can sign up. There are many different tiers of what she can do and how customized you want your content to be. And I'm even saying social media, but I can already hear Kim saying, actually, we do a whole lot more.
Yes.
But what do you do, Kim? Why not
right
use
now
it?
social
Plug
media
it.
social media is the big piece, but I'm actually onboarding a new team member next week who's going to be helping me officially launch some of the huge projects that we've been working on. Our training library, we'll have a full learning library coming soon.
Congratulations.
And thank you. And then we do a lot of animated videos, and Olga, yours is in the works, I promise. But we do
People love my
animated
video.
orientation videos, marketing videos. Drew's was super fun to,
Maybe
animate
a little
Drew.
too skinny, not enough muscle, but that's okay.
I buffed him up a lot on one.
I can't show people that one though, Kim. I can't show people that one.
I'm excited
Under
to
the
see
table
this.
payment.
That's actually a joke I make. I say I love the video, but the girl made me a little too skinny. Said she didn't pay me. I didn't pay enough for muscles. And then I say, but she made me one in a little skimpy bikini that I can't show people.
I love it.
Lots of muscles in that one.
Show notes, please.
So, yeah.
Was his
that's
hair
what you
short or
get.
long? What kind
No, it
of
was
hair
short
did he have?
back then. Yeah,
Oh,
Well,
you got to update that.
you couldn't tell. It might be like, back in his cap.
could be
or
under the
something.
hat.
Bun.
Yeah, I had a hat
Yeah,
on.
yeah, but he had
Hilarious.
the hat. So, yes.
But love the
I
video.
couldn't get
Retention.
Yeah.
I couldn't get the hair to be as gorgeous as Drew's hair is, so I just went. We can't compete with that. So
We can't pay for the
Yes.
special effects to
No.
try to
Right.
Skinny with no hair.
skinny no
yes.
hair.
But
So I
she's
do,
great with videos, you guys. The
videos.
people who watch the videos love it.
Nice.
It's my intro video.
Super fun.
They love it.
Thank you.
Oh yeah, we should say that. That's she does intro videos.
I definitely.
Cartoon.
I'm promising myself that I'm going to treat myself to a Kim intro video this year. It's
Oh,
a
you
must.
should.
Yeah.
You have
It's
Lola
a game
barking
changer,
behind you.
seriously.
I go really
Yeah.
back and forth on
It
it
is.
with the way you guys
Yeah.
talk.
No, we need to do it. We'll be emailing
It's a
you
game
about that too.
changer.
Yeah,
2023. It's happening, baby.
that's right.
It is.
So did we hear about Gloria's? She's literally swimming through money. Okay, good. She's doing fantastic.
Yes, 7 years. And
7-year itch. February 13th.
13th, yes.
Yep.
Yeah. But I did want to also just update everybody because people have reached out and I really appreciate it. My mom had her major surgery for her cancer on December 12th. And so the whole month of December, it was a really scary time. But my mom has her 5th round of chemo tomorrow and her last round of chemo February 17th. So she is ringing that bell on February 17th.
Nice.
So we're excited. She has to do like infusions every 3 weeks for the next 2 years, but it's going really well. I'm so proud of her. And but yeah, that was like the whole month of December. So my numbers weren't as important to me this year, but I was happy with how they turned out.
Sure. Can I say, your mom has been so strong. It's so incredible. But I got to say, she's so adorable.
Isn't she the cutest?
So
Oh, my gosh.
sweet.
I was literally sitting next to her. It was about 4 days ago. I brought her Panera Bread. She loves the chicken salad sandwich. Brought her dinner. My husband stopped by. And she didn't have her wig on for the first time in front of my husband. She always wears her wig. She had her cute little bandana thing on, which she's very self-conscious about. And I just looked at her and I was so proud that she was vulnerable like that. And I just started crying because she's just so damn cute. She really is. She's just a doll. But but she's a little down in the dumps. We got to work on that, but all's going really well. So that was my, December update.
Did you say February 17th is the last one?
That's the ring the bell, chemo round 6, last full on chemo.
That is wild that is a date you can visualize, Yes.
Wow. It is
Cool.
a special time we're anticipating for sure. Yeah.
Before we wrap up, can I ask? Oh, Kim. What is this, Kim? Go ahead.
My health update.
Thank you.
I didn't share with all of you guys. So starting in October, after getting over COVID and feeling better, all of a sudden my health started declining pretty rapidly. And I went through some crazy tests, bouncing back and forth between hospital and ER and all kinds of stuff, trying to figure out what it was. And they kind of had me on a fast track for a little bit. We got some initial test results. And since my initial test results, I got new tests and scopes and things done, and they reversed my diagnosis and changed some things. So I was initially diagnosed with ulcerative colitis, which is a pretty horrific autoimmune disorder, and gave me a whole new perspective on folks who have severe digestive issues. And I'm not talking irritable bowel syndrome. This is inflammatory bowel disease, and it can wreak havoc on your entire body. And so I was fully symptomatic for several months, and there were days that were good. There were days that I couldn't get out of bed. I lost a ton of weight in a very short amount of time, and just went through this like roller coaster of pain, of severe dehydration, all kinds of stuff that was happening. And I went through a couple of treatments with my acupuncturist, did infrared sauna as much as I could. When I wasn't experiencing the major awful symptoms that mean you can't float, I was floating. And I had scopes done earlier this month, and that part, all of the inflammation, all evidence is now gone.
Great.
Whoa! What?
So what does that mean? Does that mean it was misdiagnosed in the beginning, or because that's like a chronic?
It is, yeah. It's a lifelong thing, and so it could have been absolutely just a misdiagnosis where I had a instead of the full chronic colitis, that it was just a temporary inflammatory issue and acute, and we don't know what would have caused that. But then there are other things that we found out and think that I have, and as I can't even say it, EOE. It's eosinophilic esophagitis. It's basically a severe inflammation of the esophagus, and
oh my gosh,
It's from, and they tested all of this at once because the whole digestive system is related. So, I had major inflammation and in like rings that develop in your esophagus and can eventually start to close up.
Oh my
So
gosh.
some crazy stuff. And I just found that out a couple of days ago. Still don't know exactly what I'm doing and what the treatment is for all of that.
How do you feel right now?
So, I'm good. I mean, I have days where I'm still just exhausted, but I'm also doing a lot of work and family and, doing all the things. But this is another one that I was just like, well, okay. But we've learned to be really happy about a lot of things because I also tested, I had precancerous cells. They were really worried that I could have colon cancer, which runs in my family. And so that was part of this testing and diagnosis. And thankfully it was precancerous, but we got everything removed before it, became cancer. And I think that alone could have been causing some issues. And, so it could have, the whole diagnosis might have been close, but a little bit off. But I'm finally at the point now where, I'm starting to feel a little better. I'm still dealing with some, I don't do well with anesthesia. And I'm still dealing with weird after effects. I went tachycardic when I was unconscious, and I have very blood pressure and heart rate skyrocket, which is a really rare thing because I have low blood pressure and a very low, slow heartbeat. And so whenever that happens, it's kind of a crazy, thing. I came to and I told them they were having a hard time getting me to wake up. I don't know. I just suddenly they were there and they were all standing there concerned. And I said, no, I'm going back to sleep. And they were like, oh, she just won't wake up. And I was like, I'm tired, you all. I was like, I'm tired. That was a good nap, the best nap ever.
Wow.
But then I had chest pain and back pain afterwards, which is kind of a scary symptom to have. So it was just all of this, wait, but everything is right at the edge of being bad news, and then we got to take it back again. And that's happened so many times with my health. I've had 3 cancer scares where they're feeling like this is, and then we get there and it's precancerous and caught it just in time. And so there are just so many health issues that I think that has kind of taken a little bit of a toll on me, where it's
Sure.
okay, this is really bad.
Just
okay,
talking about all of that
something.
and listening to you is stress. That's so stressful.
Yeah.
So
it was just a wild few months, and I think though I'm coming out of it, and I'm trying to get back into some routines and take better care of my body and learn what my triggers are. There's a ton of testing that I still have to do to find out, with the esophageal issues, what I can do and what is triggering it. So there's, still stuff to come, but I'm feeling pretty good about it actually. And I'm hiring a new team member for Mindful Solutions, and that feels amazing. I already hired a couple more, but this particular
how many
one's gonna be
people do you
helping me in
have
some big
now?
ways.
How many people do you have? Because you had some contractors before. So are these
we had
on?
5 at one
It's
time.
not me. I keep submitting my application, but I'm not getting a response.
We'll call you. Don't call us then.
But Jocelyn ended up leaving me sadly, and I love and miss her. But she's still working with the Float Conference. Let's be clear about that. And we're still working together on that. But she was also working with me for Mindful Solutions, and so she is helping the FTA now. And so she picked up some hours with the FTA.
She called me about my overdue membership yesterday.
Float Conference still. So
I'm like, here's the thing. I
you
put
better
the
get
new
on
credit
that.
card in the Helm. I couldn't
so
recharge
funny.
it, but she got it all taken care of. I had to send her another copy. Yeah, so it's all good. I'm getting my sticker.
of course she did.
My sticker's coming.
Yes. Of course.
FTA.
Flowhelm.com. It's what we all love and use. Everything works perfectly every time, just like any software. Just no issues ever. Gosh, when there is an issue, even today, actually, I didn't have an issue with Helm. I just had a question, and their response time doesn't make sense sometimes. I'm like, they'll get back to me maybe on my shift today. I was working at the shop today, and it was just instantaneous. They have a reply,
amazing.
and then we're basically just having a live conversation back and forth, which is incredible. Floathelm.com. Or excuse me, Helmbot? Are we still outdated? Once you get, I'm too old for this. I can't update. Helmbot.com. I think they redirect anyway.
Hellbot.
Kim,
Yeah.
I love you. We love you.
I love you.
Your
Thanks.
health is so important, and you just, our health is just so important. Like hearing you having
It
rough
is.
times, even just exhaustion,
Really
all of that. I don't want to. Yeah, it hurts, and we just want the best for you. And just hearing this
Thanks.
positivity, I didn't know any of this, so I'm really excited to hear that, and I hope it keeps trending in that direction.
Exactly.
Man.
Well, all good.
I don't know what better note to go out on that. I want to talk a little bit about our plans for next year, but we just got to save that for another time. Is there anything you
Just
guys want
happy to be
share
back.
as we welcome each other back into 2023?
Happy. Yes.
We're still here,
Sounded
pounding
it.
salt. Yeah.
Year
Yeah,
7.
we're here. We're not going anywhere.
Year
Well,
7.
Drew's on his way out, but we're not going anywhere.
Yeah, I'm on my way out. But.
And you know what? Even if he's gone, we still have several episodes he needs to come back
sure.
for. And if he sells tomorrow, we're gonna reel him back in.
Yeah.
All right.
It'll be
Well,
hard to
geez.
do.
Oh, actually, hey, real quick, I had my first pump that I had to change from. You know how they're not making those,
Yeah, Pentair.
the regular pump. Not I said to say regular, but like the Pentair pumps that are pretty common. So I had to order a mag drive pump, which took like 6 weeks to get in, and then those were all 1.5 inch, and I had to redo the 2 inch, and I didn't really understand what I was doing.
Yeah.
And it turned into an 8 a.m. to midnight day.
Man.
And I had to do the wiring and it wasn't working when I left. And I was on the phone. Big thank you to both James Harder and to Luke Kruger. I was up
Nice.
at like midnight on the phone with them. And the next morning I came in all dejected. But then I was like the Fonz. I
Fonz.
slapped it. I rubbed it. I talked to it. I hit it and was like talking to the thing, and I'm like, come on, we got floats in 3 hours. I really don't want to cancel.
Amazing.
I was like begging the thing. I plugged
a
it in
little
and it
TLC.
worked. I don't know why, but it
So
worked.
funny.
Hey.
A little TLC and everything worked out. But those new pumps, and I still have one old Pentair, so I have to order one and be prepared to do it all over again. But the next owner will be excited to know
That's
that they won't
awesome.
have to mess with that pump for 5 to 10 years. They'll be good to
Mag
go
drive,
for a while.
baby.
Yeah, they're in a good. I'm setting it up for someone else's success. So
Whoever you are in the
you're
universe.
welcome to future owner. Whoever you are.
They're out there.
Well, until next week, gosh, this is Dylan for the rest of the pod saying, may you always lay pipe with ease. Until next week, bye-bye.